good to know you are still there. It's still Pathfinder on AKBC TV. I told you earlier that on this program, I am expecting a guest in the studio. The guest is right here. And I also told you that we know three means of transportation we have. We travel by road, we travel by air, and we also travel by sea. But at this point, let's talk about sea travels. What is it all about? How do we serve the environment? What are the things we need to do to keep it in check? And what is ongoing, what is going on right now when it has to do with traveling by sea in this part of the world? Okay, I'm not going to talk about that because I am not an expert in the field, but I've got someone who is here that will talk. Join me as I welcome Mr. Thompson Ija.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
CEO SeaExpress.
A big title, but thank you very much for having me.
We have to start with that so that we know that when we are talking about sea, we know that the person that is coming to talk knows what to talk about.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Good
to have you. I want to start first by asking, what does it take for someone to belong to that part of the field?
There are several ways. One, you can get education. You know, we have Maritime Academy in Oron.
Okay.
That trains people that can work in the maritime industry.
Okay.
The other one is to do investment. The other one is to maybe trade. You know, you're a fisherman. We also have people that go to the sea to mine sand.
Okay.
You know, so the area is very wide.
Okay. So that's what it takes to be there. All right. So now let's kickstart by asking these questions. When we talk about traveling, we travel by road. We are so familiar with that. And these days, a few will travel by air because it's not everybody that will have the opportunity. And then we also travel by sea. But that's a very rare connection when it has to do with travels. Let's start from there. Let's talk about the importance of traveling by sea first.
We are a riverine area. I think people really need to understand that Cross River State, Akwa Ibom, River State, Bayelsa, the entire Niger Delta is a riverine area with interconnecting communities, you know. So I mind you also that the cost of building roads in the riverine areas is more expensive than to build roads, say, in the east or in the north. Okay. You know, so predominantly the way our communities are connected about water, and typically they use canoes, you know, to travel from one point to another. But you know, this is 2025, and we also have been hearing a lot of a few about mishaps. Any life that is lost in water is a problem.
Okay.
And I want us to consider that we shouldn't be losing lives in water at this stage of development in the world. You know, so and also these riverine area people, they ply their trade using canoes. You know, you see some of them, their canoe might stay in the water for 3-4 days because they're going you know. So I think in 2025 we should do a lot to begin to introduce, you know, modern equipment that can allow them to not only ply their trade, but to go safely from point A to point B.
Okay.
And if we do that, I think it will accelerate economic development in our communities.
Okay. You know why? I have just gathered this particular last line that it will accelerate economic development. So that's important of traveling by sea. So when we travel by sea, to help us to bring in more development as people will come in to do business. But as a major stakeholder in the nation's maritime sector, what's your assessment of the sector as of today?
Very underdeveloped.
Okay.
Very underdeveloped. In the entire coastline of Africa, Nigeria has one of the longest coastlines. Almost, I think, close to about 500-600 nautical miles. It's one of the largest coastlines in Africa. It's also of course, everybody knows this, we're the most populous nation in the world. We're also one of the biggest importers of products into the continent. You know, but a lot of vessels that bring products into Nigeria are not owned by Nigerians. You know, so we are losing a lot of revenue by not participating in this industry. And one of the things we're trying to do as a company, state by state, you know, one activity at a time, is to begin to get involved in this industry. And perhaps by our involvement, other people can come into the business. We are losing a lot.
Okay.
We are losing a lot. And I think you might have heard about African Intercontinental Trade Agreement. One of the challenges for that protocol is how do you move goods from point A to point B? If Africans are not participating in this industry, it's going to be very challenging to have this agreement that has been put together by the heads of states of African countries come to fruition.
Okay.
It's a very essential industry that our people need to start participating in. And as a company, we are committed to getting involved and see if we can drive that process.
Okay, you use the word underdeveloped. So I will now ask, what is really wrong with the sector? What is making it look that way?
It's expensive.
Expensive?
Yes.
How do you mean?
It's the vessels are expensive. Vessels are expensive. To also build a clientele, it takes time.
Okay.
Okay, then you talk about regulations. And the one big thing also we talk about, really, the interest rates environment doesn't help. So if you're a startup in Nigeria and you have to get money from a bank at 35% interest rates, oh dear, I mean, your execution has to be perfect.
Okay.
Because the assumption is your profit margin is more than 34% for starters, for you to be able to cover that cost. So from a cost perspective, Nigerian entrepreneurs are at a disadvantage, to purchase vessels that you can put in this cost. And then also, it takes a long time for you to begin to realize the gain. So if you look at it takes a long time, and 35% interest rate, a lot of people will probably opt to just go and trade, to turn money quickly and pay back the interest. So the interest rate environment particularly doesn't help at all.
Okay, when we talk about development, we know that we're talking about economic development, increasing economic growth, productivity, and income. True. And so you say that we have a problem is underdeveloped, and then I'm sure there will be a solution. They can profound a solution. Maybe something can be done. Who is responsible for that?
It's a collective. I don't I've been in this industry now for 3 years. There's a tendency for everything to come down to government. Government is an enabler, has a huge role to play, no doubt. Has a huge role to play, but entrepreneurs need to take risks in various sectors of the economy. Look at the oil sector. In the past 10 or so 15 years, we are hearing of Nigerians that have oil fields. 30 years ago that wasn't the case. Okay, people are now taking risks to get into oil fields. Let people now begin to take risks to go into the maritime sector. Even in the oil industry, the oil tankers that carry our oil out of this place, there's nothing wrong with them being owned by Nigerians. Okay, our LNG, nothing wrong with them being owned by Nigerians. So these things are capital intensive. So the OECD countries, for example, it's easier for you to get a loan of under 10%, and then the banks will see that and support you. And give you tax breaks. Those are not things we find in our society. If anything, everybody tries to put their hand in your pocket. So it's not. While the business environment is challenging, I think the more of us that begin to take risks in this industry, will find a way to crack it, and find a way to grow it, and then increase the pace of economic activities.
Of course, you can see a sign of that on air here, what we are talking about, because I do know that seeing is believing, as people will say. But let's talk about the long-term and the short-term goals. When we talk about the maritime sector, could it be the problem you're talking about? We will go to security aspect. That will be a discussion on its own. But let's talk about the short-term and the long-term goals. Could it be a problem of why this underdevelopment is coming in? It's
40 years ago, we used to hear about MV Oron, MV Obudu, MV Eket that used to ply the Calabar Oron channels all the way to the Central African countries. Inflation set in. It became too expensive to maintain those vessels, and they went away. Since then, there really has, until SeaExpress came, there really hasn't been any modern way of traveling these channels.
Okay.
It cost a lot to put those vessels in the water.
Okay.
We've been around 3 years now. You showed a picture of our latest acquisition. That's a 100-seater catamaran passenger vessel, probably the first of its kind in the country. Okay. This is a demonstration of our commitment to making this work. So number one really is entrepreneurs willing to take the risk. Number two is that when you now take the risk, you now go to government to say, listen, do everything you can to support us to grow this. If you take the risk, you have a platform that the government can now come in and accelerate a development. And those are the kind of things that I hope will happen as we go along.
Okay, now since you mentioned SeaExpress, let's talk about SeaExpress. Now we know you've mentioned the challenge and something is happening. What is it?
Well, SeaExpress, what we do, we the fastest way to get from Uyo, Port Harcourt, Oron, Eket, Abak, Ikotekpene to Calabar is by water. Let's just not kid ourselves. It is by water.
You said the fastest.
It's the fastest way. It's by water. If you travel I mean, you know the state of the roads now.
Yeah.
Okay, it's by, if you're coming from Port Harcourt, Eket, it's by water. If you're New York and you're going to Calabar and the roads were good, you have an option. Okay, you have an option. It's by water, and what SeaExpress has done in the past 3 years is to help to transform that way, so that people like you, me, everybody has an option to use and travel by water. And I think we've done a phenomenal job so far. You can, like I have a lawyer that approached me one time and said, because of SeaExpress, I can dress in my suit now, enter SeaExpress and go to court, come back and go home. I want to go for wedding, I dress in my wedding cloth, enter SeaExpress, go for the wedding, come back. Okay. We have made that possible. What we want to do now is now make it possible for you to travel across international waters. Okay. Safely. Okay. Reliably. Okay. Comfortably. And fast.
Okay. Okay, so if you're just joining us, the interaction we are just about starting, so you're not missing out anything. I am speaking with the CEO of SeaExpress, Mr. Thompson Eja. It's going to be an opportunity now for you to be part of the discussion. So my director will give us a phone number on the screen right now, where you also have to have the opportunity to interact with us. Don't forget that we are talking about SeaExpress, we are talking about Maritime Life, we are talking about sea as a means of transportation. If you have any question, you have a suggestion, if you have anything to say, please feel free to use the phone number you are seeing on the screen. If you can't call us, you can send SMS or WhatsApp. We are going to do that with you. That is why we are here. It's going to be as interactive as we would want it to be. Now let's talk about it. You say SeaExpress, you said you want to make it big. You have that. Has there been any controversy so far?
Not with SeaExpress. We've operated now for about 3 years or 3 years in one or so. Okay. There's never been an incident with SeaExpress.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
I've been fortunate that I've had a lot of experience traveling around the world. Okay. You know, and I've seen how things are done around the world. Okay. My goal is to begin to now replicate that in our place. There's the one thing I can comfortably say is that because of SeaExpress, the quality of travel across the channel has improved. Okay. Significantly. There is no doubt about that. You know, that from the government people that use it, everybody that uses it, they can attest to the fact that SeaExpress has transformed that water. The next step now is going to be, how do we enable trade? Which means, how do we move goods from point A to point B quickly, faster, and cheaper? Okay. You know, I've had conversations, and when I tell people this, they kind of get very, very shocked. In the rainy season, it would take about 3 weeks to 4 weeks to move a container from Lagos to Uyo or Calabar. If you're a businessman, tell me, will you be sleeping well at night?
That's not possible.
Exactly. Okay. You know, these are things that we can change with the development of the maritime industry. If you follow the news very well, His Excellency has recently invested in transforming the Oron waterways. The Oron Marine Ferry Terminal that is managed by the Ministry of Transport is being rebuilt. And that is absolutely fantastic, because that thing comes into place. Once it comes into place, SeaExpress and others that are interested in that industry can make that place work and work sustainably. I keep saying, it's one thing to build an airport. It's one thing to have planes that come into that airport. If you build an airport and there are no planes, it's just a capital project that you sign and go away. Okay. You know, so with the development in the Oron Marine Ferry Terminal, you can see a couple of things begin to happen. One, we can have more vessels to move people around, begin to connect different communities to Oron. Oron should be like a hub. Begin to come Ibaka, Eket. There's nothing wrong with going from Calabar to Eket, Calabar to Ibaka.
What I'm seeing on the screen is very impressive. I mean, it's very, very interesting. This is what we are talking about.
This is the new vessel we just purchased for to launch our international operations. Okay. You can see the seats look like you're on a plane. You can see the floor cover. We have a kitchenette there. We serve you food. You know, completely AC. You know, there's music, there's TV. Oh. You know, so you travel here to, I mean, there used to be that 30, 40 years ago, people used to go to Panya. I don't know if you remember Panya.
I used to hear
my father used to talk about Panya. I didn't know what Panya was until now.
It was the name of a place.
That's Malabo. That's Malabo, Equatorial Guinea. Okay. You know, so we want to now make it easy for you to go to that Panya. You know, go to Cameroon. And a lot of our Cameroonians come here to buy goods over there. Make it easy for those goods to get there, and even their travel. Make it easy and cheap and cost effective for them to come here easily and get to Cameroon. If people can travel, if there's mobility, trade will come.
Okay, we are still talking about travels and talking about development and trade enablement. What kind of trades can easily be conveyed through the sea?
Everything. This your cloth came through the sea.
Okay.
Everything. The sea, 80% of the world's trade is done by sea.
Okay.
The rest is by air. Oil, of course, is more expensive. Then internally, you now have the inland waterways and you have the rail. But 80% of the trade around the world is done by, remember when they colonized us and they were taking all our goods out of here? Was by water. We still have our palm oil that goes out of the country.
Okay.
That's by water. If you have manufacturing concerns, for example, like you have in the East, the slippers they produce, the pampers they produce, the soap they produce, the pharmaceuticals they produce, the cheapest way to get it from here to Cameroon, to Libreville, to Panya, is going to be by water.
Okay.
If we take advantage of that, we can do what? Create employment. Or on places like the water areas like Oron, Eket, can begin to get transformed, because there's nothing wrong in you having a vessel that carries, say, 5,000 tons of goods from Oron to Gabon. Imagine what that would do to Oron.
Okay. Still talking about travels. I mean, let's bring it down to the South people. That's where I belong. We are talking about the idea of traveling and talk about Nigeria and South. What do you think we are comfortable traveling by Oron Calabar waterway? I mean, when it comes to people traveling there to go do businesses, are there negative report that is scaring people?
One of the things I've also discussed around from my traveling, especially across West Africa, is that the people that live in the area also fear water the most.
Okay, it's a fear.
It's a fear. It's a fear of the unknown. What is it you're fearing? It's like flying, right? Most people will tell you that they're afraid of flying. The question is, why are you afraid of flying? Why are you afraid? If you come down to it, like flying, we're not here to talk about the airline industry. Flying is actually one of the safest ways to travel in the world. But the challenge is, if there is an aircraft incident, it carries a lot of news, and then people get scared.
Okay.
The same thing with water. If there's an incident in the water, the news spreads like wildfire, whether it's true or not. I mind you, with social media now, everybody can write nonsense. And the thing just goes rife. So it's the fear of the unknown. And I'd like to tell you, there's one lady here from who's a high banking official that drove her car to Calabar and called me and said, please, SeaExpress, I want to enter your boat to Oron. I want to go back to you. I say, okay, what's the problem? He said, you have to give me assurances. I say, what assurance do you want? She says she's afraid of water. I say, why are you afraid of water? He said, water is sweeter in the cup. I say, well, but she now said to me, but I don't want to drive back. The stress is too much. She entered the boat. I traveled with her. She entered the boat. It wasn't 2-3 minutes. She slept throughout. The fear was gone.
The fear.
It's the fear of the unknown. If you don't try it and conquer it, you will fear. And the biggest fear is what? Fear.
Alright, I was also trying to link it with the security aspect of it. But you've been hearing about these security issues on the waterways.
Calabar Oron is the safest waterway in the entire Niger Delta.
Okay.
It's 18 nautical miles of water and has 4 gunboats. That is a lot of investment by the government. In addition to that, His Excellency has also deployed gunboats to patrol the Akwa Ibom waters.
Okay.
It doesn't matter how much you patrol roads, you will have problem. It's not a question of the problem. It's a question of 2 things: the opportunities and how we address the problem. There will always be problem. Sorry to say, put it this way: during the Christmas period, there were 3 aircraft incidents in the world.
Yeah.
And people stopped flying. So our own is really, when there's an incident, we run to the hills, and we understand that. But also understand that if there are incidents, then what do? When SeaExpress started, there were only 2 gunboats in the water. Now there are 4.
Oh,
not to mention the numbers now that His Excellency has put in the water. That's because a lot more people are traveling through water, and there's also now a need for government to also respond and secure the water, and government is doing the best it can. As we increase capacity in the waterways, government will be forced to act and increase its presence. But more important, as we increase capacity in the waterways, it means more people will see it as an opportunity and come and invest. If they come and invest, it means what? Employment is coming.
Okay.
As there's employment, there's less of banditry in our waterways. That's why I say, as a rural community, we must invest in our waters.
Okay.
It's not just about travel. There's fishing.
Okay.
Like I said to you, that people don't understand this. There's no fishing trawler in our waters. There's tourism. There's barely no tourism in our waters. These are all sectors that can create employment, create economic activities, and reduce the level of crime or banditry in the region.
You know, we've been so used to road travels when it has to do with Akwa Ibom State. I can assure you of that. And when we talk about South, Akwa Ibom State, other states, Edo, you know, Delta, like you mentioned, have been mentioned. Now we know that these businesses you're talking about, we can easily access them through the waters. Apart from that, you know, we're talking about security aspect. We also know that there's what is called piracy, where people are being tormented, where people are being harassed. Have you heard of something like that?
Of course. I mean, piracy across the Gulf Straits had been in the increase before COVID. Again, the more activities that are in that water, the government can't respond. There's now conversation around using drones to survey our water. It's because activities are increasing. Okay, if there are no activities, then people will be disposed or predisposed to criminality.
Okay.
To sustain themselves. So let us invest, let us take risks, and also let us patronize. As a people, we have to learn to patronize our businesses. If you patronize our businesses, it's not just that the businessman is making money. If you patronize our businesses, the business becomes successful. If the business is successful, it hires more people. If it hires more people, it has to get innovative. If it gets innovative, it provides more services, and we can have champions.
Okay.
I'm from Cross River State. I am very proud of Ibom Air, for example.
Okay.
Ibom is succeeding, it's transforming our land. If we don't enter Ibom Air, will it hire more people?
No way.
Will they buy more planes?
No way.
So let us learn to also patronize our business. If I don't come here and talk, will you be able to advertise?
No way.
We have to learn to patronize our. There's this tendency that sometimes we run down our own things. Let us. This is different between Oyibo people. Oyibo, they patronize their own. They patronize and support their own, which now encourages innovation, investment, and growth. Akwa Ibom State and Cross River State governments are the biggest employers of labor in both states. Why? Is there any reason why Ibom Air, for example, can tomorrow employ 30,000 people in this specific grow? Is there any reason why SeaExpress shouldn't be able to employ 20,000 people in the next 5 years? Imagine the ripple effect of that.
Okay.
So there's too much focus on government. Let us now begin to figure out how do we encourage our businesses? How do we encourage our businesses? Is there any reason why this TV station can't be a CNN? So that's my perspective. From my wide travels around the world, businesses should grow. People should learn to encourage. Don't tear down.
Okay. So
provide feedback, but don't tear down.
Okay. So from what I'm trying to gather is that our attitude is also a problem.
It's also a problem.
Okay. Now let's analyze the importance. Let's analyze the advantage of traveling by sea. Let's bring it down again so that we can really understand how safe it is. What do we do? How do we do it?
It's very simple. Calabar run, if you're doing Calabar run, is what, 45 minutes to 1 hour. And you enter road now. If you're doing Port Harcourt, if you're coming from Port Harcourt,
is it not expensive?
No, it's not expensive. Comparatively, not expensive. SeaExpress is 10,000 naira for the level of service you get,
okay,
for the level of comfort you get,
okay,
and for the speed. It's a bargain.
Okay.
If you're coming from Port Harcourt, for example, you're going to Calabar. It's 2 hours to Oron, or 2.5 hours to Oron, 3 hours to Calabar, which means you can come to Calabar and go back to Port Harcourt the same day. You can't do the same by road, even if the road was good.
Okay.
You know, so, but we don't want to look at it as just traveling by water. We want to look at it as experiencing some of the things that the water brings into play.
Okay.
I don't know, when I was growing up from a riverine area, we used to have regalia in the water. I mean, why shouldn't folks that do regalia in the water earn income from it?
Okay.
You know, so the more you have water activities, the more it exposes business opportunities, the more people can use it as a livelihood beyond the subsistence level that we have now. Calabar Oron Channel, is there any reason why we can't have a cruise boat? I like to say Valentine is coming.
Okay.
Can we do Valentine dinner on the water and relax and not be afraid of anything?
But you just
can we have a beautiful coastline? You know, there are things that we always do, like jet skis, where we, you know, back when I was growing up, we'll go to the beach by the water and play. We don't have that. We can have man-made beaches. But you see, if SeaExpress doesn't grow, those other opportunities will not be exposed. If through rumor you kill SeaExpress and they say, oh, they killed their own, why should investors come into this place? If Ibom Air dies now for any reason, why should any person bring a plane into this place? So we must learn to support our businesses, both government and the people. We must learn to, what do you need to grow? It's not just about SeaExpress. What do you need to grow? The fisherman, what if you have one canoe? What do you need for us to get you from this one canoe to a bigger canoe? If your canoe is bringing 5 fish, how can we get you to bring 100 fish back to shore? Because if you bring 100 fish back to shore, the cost of fish will do what? Will go down.
Okay.
And people will live and get better nutrition.
Okay.
So for me, as I say, it's a collective. It's not just government. It's the entrepreneur, it's the government, it's the people coming down to say we want an improved quality of life for our people, and these are the things we need to do.
Okay. You know, when you are just talking, we take opportunity to gather information, because if you ask me, I will react as it is, that a lot of people don't really know how to take advantage of it. I mean, someone will want to ask, how do I go about it? If I want to travel by road, I just want to get to one of the, like AKTC Park, do my bookings, and then I move. If I want to go by air, I know how to do it, either online. How do we do that by sea? I'm sure more people want
Very simple. If you SeaExpress, www.seaexpresstransit.com.
Okay.
You can go there and book.
Okay.
Very, very easy.
Online.
Yeah. In fact, about 70% of our passengers now book online.
Okay.
Of course, when we started, everybody wants to go to the station and book. Okay. We have two terminals, of course. Oron, the Marine Ferry Terminal, where the governor is now rebuilding the entire thing. We have a presence there. In Calabar, we are located at the newer facility in Calabar. You can go to those places and book.
Okay.
But what we are increasingly seeing is that people are booking online. From day one, we had a website for doing that. So that's what we are seeing increasingly. You can book online, SeaExpress, and that's it there on the boat.
Okay.
www.seaexpresstransit.com. Okay. You can also call our phone lines as well to book. So, but also, you know, most people, because they know us, they just simply go to Oron. Where's SeaExpress? They go to SeaExpress. They book. Then in Calabar, where's SeaExpress? They call boats. Most boats will know where it is. Most bikers in Oron know where it is, and you go there and book. And what we've also become is a national brand. Okay, there was a day I was sitting there in the restaurant in Abuja, and people were talking about SeaExpress. I was just smiling. I said,
they didn't know you were there.
They did. And people don't know me really.
They don't know you. So
they don't know me really.
Know you today.
And that's not important really. What's important is that they can travel, they can experience the water. That's it's for me. It's not about me.
Okay.
You know, it's about the kind of service we can bring. The people that make that service possible.
We are getting to know that today.
You know, the people that get that for me, that's what's important. It's not, me, I'm not important. It's not important. Let's get the service.
You are important as far as you're behind the scene of what is happening and what is making life important to people. Now, you do mention the governor as you talk. You do mention the governor, and I know that our governor is friendly with anything that is positive. When it has to do with the Arise agenda, how is SeaExpress trying to align with it?
Well, so like I've said, the governor is developing the Oran waterways. He's rebuilding the Maritime ferry terminal. If he does that, we just launched a 100-seater vessel.
Okay.
If he does that, he sets the stage as a platform for trade enablement. We will now follow through with the kind of investment that will make that place work very. It's like Ibom Air, right? The airport is there. We've expanded the airport. We can see new planes coming in. They started with the smaller planes. Now you're seeing bigger seater planes. It's the same thing we will do. Once that place is established, we'll have conversations. We are talking. Okay, and we'll put the vessels there that will make the place become vibrant.
Okay.
And that way the state government doesn't even really need to, they can do one or two investments in terms of vessels, but they not allow the private sector participation to now come and accelerate the use and development of that place. You know, so it's a beautiful project he's doing, and hopefully we can also tie it down to not just the travel for business or whatever, but to tourism.
Okay.
To tourism. We have a lot of beautiful sites around this place. let's also begin to use water for relaxation, not just for travel, not just for fishing, not just for mining sand, but relax. We can live long.
I want you to talk more about that, because when we talk about development, we talk about relaxation too. Like you said, trade has a lot to do with business, so development will have to do with also entertainment. That's when we're talking relaxation.
Oh yes.
Let's talk more about it. What does it take to get involved in having, being a part of such activities?
It's an investment. If you travel around the world, the waterfront is actually very high property value places. You see restaurants there. You go sit down, the water is clean. You sit down in the evening, fresh breeze is blowing you. You eat decent food. In the 10 o'clock, you go home and go and sleep. There's entertainment for you. Everybody wants to go to the Caribbean. What's important about the Caribbean is the waterfront.
Okay.
It's the waterfront. You can have water activities. You can have boating. There's nothing wrong with you doing boating for fun. There's a South African I know in Sierra Leone. His only business is fishing. People come from all over the world for him to take to the middle of ocean to catch big fish, take picture, they drop the fish, come out.
And you pay.
What is wrong with having such things here in our land?
That is the problem.
But you see, if SeaExpress doesn't succeed, it's difficult to build upon, because we're a trailblazer. If the trailblazer doesn't succeed, it's difficult to build upon the successes going forward. Because when the next person comes, it's going to do what? It's going to start from ground zero.
Okay, so we can talk about Sea Life, we can talk about SeaExpress without also talking about the major challenges that you have. You've already told us some few things you need to know, but I'm sure you have major challenges when it has to do with maritime sector. Things that is making it look like it can be done, that at least it can be corrected and it can be done.
I view it as an opportunity. Challenges are an opportunity. I don't, yes, the business environment is tough. Yes, the interest rate is 34%. Yeah, I get all that. Maybe you want to go and see. The good thing we have about Cross Western Akwa Ibom, where we have responsive governments that if you go and talk to them, they will listen. The Ministry of Transport, I'm in constant dialogue with them. They listen to me. Where they can provide support, they provide support. But if you don't make the investment, government will not know how to support.
Okay.
When you make the investment, you have your pain points. When you have your pain points, you go and see government. Last week, I was in meetings with MPA. They're like, oh my goodness, we didn't know something like this existed. But it's now that you exist, what do you need? I say, here's what I need. It's okay, fine. We'll look at it and we'll find the best way to support you. So if there isn't a platform, it's something I like to say about farming, right? Who has a very huge farm in this place? Who has a huge chicken farm in this place? If you don't have none, how can the governor support?
That is it.
Is he going to come and support you and give you money to start one chicken farm?
No, all we need is the governor to start giving us money.
How does that work? How does that accelerate the development?
Okay.
I feel sorry for governors. I'm sorry. Because the pressure on them it's unimaginable. But if you have businesses that can chart a channel, okay, I have a farm that does, maybe my farm now is 10 hectares. The governor can say, what do you need to go to 100 hectares? And how many people can you employ 100 hectares?
Okay.
So how many people can I employ? Then what's the support you need? Then they can figure out the support they need and they get you there. But you can't go to the governor and say, oh, I want to start. You don't get who. But you define $2 million to start farm. How is that going to work?
Okay, so we are still talking maritime development and trade enablement. Yeah, we're talking about sea travels and SeaExpress as a means of moving, especially from Oron to Calabar, when it has to do with doing business via the sea. We are still here talking. I'll be right back after this time out.
Wahala go wake up from sleep around you, make you call police, yo. Call police, yo. If you see or hear wetin you no understand, make you call police, yo. Call police, yo. Akwa Ibom people, you get as things don't begin to happen for this we state. Where come make some of us come they ask say, Nsuto desperation. All the time where our son name for this state be the most peaceful state for Nigeria. The name they pay some people, not be so. Now why some people come begin to ask horror film for we state, Abi? And now for so Akwa Ibom state government don't come up for gear and police and other security agencies don't ready. If you see people or movement where you no trust or you no understand what some people they do to you survive and live life big, whether na for where you dey work or for your neighborhood or compound or na inside keke or minibus, abeg call police hotline for 0803 921 3071 or 0904 000 0065, or you call Akwa Ibom State Information Hotline on 070 000 00001. If you wait till it happen to you before you do something, if it too late, yo. This message now from Ministry of Information, Akwa Ibom State.
This is our home, where we all belong. The place where life is beautiful. The peaceful ambience we enjoy when we live together in unity and love. Akwa Ibom, it's on him and you know. We go stand together, we go make them better. We be brothers and sisters, no matter where we day. Akwa Ibom, you know. It's on him and you know. No matter where we day, we are one. Brothers and sisters, no matter where we day. Akwa Ibom, you know. It's on him and you know. No matter where we day, we are one. Let's live together in peace and harmony. Yeah.
And so you've just heard that it's possible, very, very possible for you to travel by sea, and it's also possible for you to do business. And then when it has to do with South men talking about this part of the world, we are not really doing well when it has to do with taking parts in the sea activity. So we are still talking about it. That's why we are here, and we want to talk about employment, getting people involved. I saw some beautiful ladies there. I did ask a question when we started, what does it take to be there? I mean, someone will say, I want to work there. Let's talk about the employment opportunity that we have within the maritime sector.
So one of the things we look, so with this vessel now, for example, these ladies now, all of them are going to Maritime Academy around for training.
Okay.
I send you there for training. That's number one. For this vessel now, these are hostesses, and of course they attend to the customers.
Okay.
On this vessel now, we have the captain.
Okay.
We have engineers, we have navigation experts. Okay, and of course we have hostesses. This vessel now employs about 10 to 13 people.
Really?
Just this one vessel.
Just this one vessel.
Just this one vessel. The next vessel we are going to buy, which will be devoted to cargo, will be capable of employing 18 people.
Okay.
So 18 people on each vessel. Now imagine if we are doing rotation. That means 18 times 2, 36 people.
36 people.
This is what you can begin to have. And then you also have support staff.
Okay.
Now also imagine that if you do a cargo vessel, not only are the people that I'm employing right on that vessel, you have agents.
Okay. That's your opportunity.
Exactly. See, you're beginning the ecosystem now. You have agents. You have agents for the passengers. You have agents for cargo. You have shipping agents that handle the paperwork between us and the maritime authority people. You can see how it is cascading.
Okay.
Now, if you're an agent cannot sustain himself just one boat. The whole idea of an agent is that I'm serving several clients, and I'm getting 5%, 10% from the business I bring. Mind you, it's not just one agent that will serve a boat. So the more vessels, the more activities you have in the water, the more agents you will have. I don't believe that Cross River Akwa Ibom will have any customs clearing agents working in our waters, which is a shame. Now, we've heard talk a lot about the deep sea port. If we have deep sea port, our people are not even customs clearing agents. But that would be an opportunity to have customs clearing agents of our people. We would have bonded warehouses here. Which means, why do I talk about bonded warehouses? I can take containers from Lagos and come and put it in a bonded warehouse and clear it. Who will clear it?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Because I don't know who.
Because our people are not even involved in that business.
That's why we're asking what it takes.
So if we have an opportunity, that's why I like what the governor is doing with this marine ferry terminal.
Okay.
It's a microcosm of what is possible. If we make the marine ferry terminal successful, then you can see us build some. If this marine ferry terminal is going to be able to take about, let's say, 4 or 5 boats, and it has 1 or 2 warehouses, you can now see that in 4 or 5 years, the man will say, oh my God, this has been very successful. Okay, let's expand it. Let's expand it to accommodate 10 vessels, maybe 10 passenger vessels, and maybe 5 cargo vessels. Oh, in 6 years, oh my goodness, it's been very successful. Let's do what? And as you do that, you create more employment. You create more. Not only do you, how about people that sell food? Because now they will have a stream of customers that come in. That sell food. Okay. Of course, the hospital. We're not saying people should be sick, but people get sick.
That's true.
That's business for the look at hospitals as a business, not just to treat you for sick. It's a business because if it runs as a business, then they can provide you better services. You know, so it's interconnected. We talked about the food, right? If they come, they have to eat. Well, the fisherman has to be able to go out and fish.
Someone has to supply the food.
It's an ecosystem. But if you don't, and I'll say this for those that sometimes write nonsense articles, you know, and just you see one problem and you take it and exploit it and you write total nonsense. If SeaExpress fails, there's a problem. It means that the line is killing its own business.
Okay.
That means the business doesn't come here and succeed. You see, when we started SeaExpress, we went empty like 10 times. I remember one of the trips, we had like 3 or 4 passengers, and the passenger said, "Kai, this place is a killer of business." And I said, "No, it's early days."
It's early days. Just getting people mind.
But imagine that person is an outsider. That's what he has seen, and he takes it outside and says, this place is a killer of business. Imagine what that does to the psyche of the people that want to come and invest in the place. The people must support their own.
That's true.
The people, and I want to say this again, it's a collective. The people must support their own, because if they support their own gets successful. Their own gets successful, it creates opportunity for a lot more people. In our Calabar office now, I see 2 people that do POS. It's sustaining them.
That's true.
It is sustaining them.
And that's employment.
So if you kill SeaExpress, what happened to those people?
Okay, so lastly, I know that SeaExpress is not planning to die.
It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere. So let me ask the regulatory plan that SeaExpress is putting in place to make sure that the standard stands. If you
enter SeaExpress, there are a couple of things. One, every SeaExpress vessel that we buy has 2 engines.
Okay.
And like we say, in the unlikely event that one engine goes down, the other will take you safely to your destination. 2,
okay.
On a safety perspective, you don't enter, except for this big boat now, you don't enter SeaExpress without wearing your life vests. You do not, you know, from a safety position. Also, if you come to our terminals before you board a SeaExpress vessel, we scan you with a metal detector.
Okay.
You know, that way you don't carry things that you shouldn't carry and get into that place. We do top-notch maintenance on our vessels. You know, so these are some of the things that we're doing to make sure that the service continues to grow.
Okay.
And of course, you've seen that we make this, like I said, this vessel now is the largest passenger vessel in the country, and it's in our water. And these are the things we'll continue to do, you know, to make sure that we thrive, we innovate, and we attract clientele of different demographics to be able to use these services.
That's very interesting to know. I am now knowing that SeaExpress has come to stay, and so if you are especially from the south region, you have to make use of the opportunity. You know, we're so used to road travels, and then we are complaining of fuel hike and all that. You just convince us that it's not too expensive to travel by sea, and SeaExpress makes it possible. That's what we are talking about too.
Absolutely.
And so SeaExpress is also open for employment.
We don't. Yes, of course.
It's also open for
development. Of course. So just one thing too. You know, during Christmas, everybody increases fare. At SeaExpress, we don't do that.
Okay.
We do not do that.
Okay.
You know, so we understand it's challenging. We want to make money, because if we don't make money, we can't invest. but it's not, profit is not the overriding consideration now. We're building the brand is strong, expand the services, the money will come.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thompson Eja, CEO SeaExpress, for coming. We look forward to see you come here to talk some other time. We want to have more time to talk about what is our own, because as far as I'm concerned, as far as Southside is concerned, whatever we own it. Talking about Calabar, Oran Calabar movements, it is our business. So we have to keep talking about that.
Thank you
very much. We wish you all the best in your endeavors.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. So that is it. That has been the size of this particular interview. I did tell you earlier that we will have a lost segment, and that will be from our file copy. Just stay and enjoy the program.